Eric with us today to walk through the new standards for the GMSF, the Global Media Sustainability Framework. A very exciting, a very important update, version 1.2. And I'm gonna just talk to you, Eric, about some exciting updates, what that really means for the media industry, specifically with this new standards. So let's talk through it. So if you could just walk me through what is the Global Media Sustainability Framework overall, and what is the significance of this latest version 1.2 update?
Sure. And thanks for having me on today, Zoe. Pleasure. And also thank you for the partnership, of course, with Pixability. So a little background, I think, on the Global Media Sustainability Framework, or GMSF, as it's called for short. It was introduced by AdNetZero in June of 2024, really designed as a global standard for measuring carbon emissions across all media channels. And the first channels that were introduced in the framework were digital, which of course includes open web, but also social and search. And then two other channels, TV, which includes broadcast TV and CTV, and then out of home, which is traditional out of home, like physical billboards, as well as digital screens, digital out of home. Ultimately, this standard is supported by all of the agency holding companies and many of the largest global brands in the industry. And you spoke about version 1.2. Well, that is the latest version of the framework, which was released in Cannes Lions this past June, 2025. AdNetZero worked very closely with the industry, including ourselves and many other companies in the space, as well as IAB, to make significant updates, mainly for the digital channel. And a lot of these updates included new, what we call standardized default values, or data hacks, as they call it in the working groups. Really, it's fallback values or estimates that can be used when actual data is not available for measurement. And there's also this concept of a new hierarchy of different accuracy tiers. So it really encourages companies in the space to provide actual data for measurement versus relying on these fallback values or other proxies. And I think the last big update in this framework is that there are updates to just the general formulas that are being used in the measurement process.
Amazing. So exciting. And would love to just hear a little bit more about, our partnership and how you partnered with Pixability on, the GMSF overall, but especially this new implementation, and how you kind of hope to in the future with us, and how we can be, the best partner in implementing these new and exciting standards.
Sure. And I think you noted we've been partnered for a couple of years now, actually, to measure and work on optimizing the emissions from Pixability's campaigns for clients, ultimately. We started off the partnership using industry standards. Even preceding GMSF, there was another standard out of Europe that we were using. And then, of course, last year, we moved all Pixability's campaigns to GMSF when it was introduced. And now we're actually really proud to announce that we were together the first companies to implement version 1.2 of GMSF at a global level. Really, the first campaign that was measured using the updated version of the framework was for their client Epson, as well as their media agency, Media Plus UK. And we actually presented these results together from this campaign in Cannes this year. And of course, moving forward, what that means is all Pixability campaigns will be compliant with the updated version of the framework.
So exciting. I know that presentation was a huge success, heard all about it. So love to see it. And a little bit more specifically, can we talk about how GMSF really is going to change platforms like YouTube, which is obviously Pixability's specialty? Just a little bit more about that specific implementation.
Sure. Well, the great thing about the new version of GMSF is it gets into more granular details to help differentiate emissions by different types of digital buys and channels. Yeah. So, for example, in the past, GMSF and even preceding standards were really focused on open web. But now there's more granularity, so they're breaking out things like programmatic media versus social versus direct buys from publishers. And ultimately, the framework now provides different default values that I referred to before when contributed data is not available for these different channels. So now we're able to distinguish the efficiencies of these different channels. And that being said, in our measurement with Pixability, we've been able to demonstrate that YouTube is actually significantly more sustainable than other channels such as programmatic, given the new formulas, the new default values that we're able to introduce, as well as obviously contributed data.
Love to see it. Love to be part of a platform that is doing that better than anyone else, And then just kind of the future of GMSF, where do you hope to get to, and kind of, for our partnership and just media in the greater sense?
Yeah, so the great thing about the GMSF is that it will always be sort of a work in progress, because the industry is constantly trying to improve it accuracy-wise. And there will also be updates to include new media channels, of course, in these new developments. So the next version of GMSF as a preview is called version 1.3, of course. And it's slated to be released before the end of 2025 this year. We anticipate basically the additional rollout of new media channels. So the operational rollout of things like audio, which is actually including broadcast radio as well as digital audio, and then print, of course, as a big media channel. So we're working closely with the working groups, helping to obviously to help define these standards, but also roll them out. And we're really excited to collaborate with the industry, improve the framework, and ultimately work with partners like yourselves to ensure that we're rolling out the latest versions and ultimately being fully compliant as the industry evolves.
Such an important update. Thank you so much for joining us and talking through it. And we'll continue the conversation.
And of course, thank you again for having me.
Thanks so much, Eric. Talk soon.